My name is Kenny Gaddy, and I completed my internship at Weber and Associates, an accounting firm in Aurora. When I first began interning at Weber and Associates, it was the start of tax season. I learned then that things can get pretty hectic at the start of tax season. In my mentor's office, as you can see in these photos here, tax files everywhere, and I don't see how he kept it organized, but he knew where everything was, and so did all of the rest of the employees at the firm. But it's very busy and very crazy during tax season. Another thing that my mentors shared with me, because tax season is only a few months, all the time outside of tax season is just time for the accountants to do small things and things not as stressful for businesses and other clients that they may have. For example, the other partner at the firm, the one that was not my mentor, barely works. He works 2 weeks, and then the next 2 weeks he's on vacation to some different country or different state, exploring, doing things that he likes and enjoys. He doesn't even work 5 days a week. So my mentor told me if you can make it through tax season, you will have a great time being an accountant. Because I'm not a certified public accountant, to get started, I didn't always have anything to do. So sometimes I had to listen to my mentor just hold phone calls with clients, and from that I learned that you just have to connect with your clients and build that relationship with them, because you do hold a lot of information, like confidential information that no one else knows besides you and them. So it's good to have a good relationship with them, keep them coming back, and keep them recommending their friends and family members to you as well. When I did receive my first item of work that he gave me, it was a bank reconciliation. A reconciliation is a process that explains the difference between the bank balance shown in the organization's bank statement as supplied by the bank and the corresponding amount shown in the organization's own accounting records at that particular point in time. It's usually month by month. So my goal would be to take what the bank says, check the checks to see if there are any outstanding checks or any outstanding deposits, make sure everything went through, and at the end, I want to make sure that both sides balance, the banks and what we have in our records. And it didn't always balance. I've coming from accounting, taking the accounting class at the school. I did have some experience with bank recs. It wasn't my first one that I've ever done, but it didn't always balance. Sometimes there would be something wrong with what they had in their records over at Weber and Associates, or usually or the bank made a mistake. I remember one time the bank made a mistake, and it was a bunch of checks that shouldn't have been on there. So the goal was always to get them to balance. I actually really enjoyed doing bank reconciliations. I feel like it's like a challenge to me, to like not I don't want to say a game, but it's like something that you have to get reached. It's like a goal that you have to reach at the end to get the check get the two balances to balance, or else you know you did something wrong or something's wrong and you got to find out what happened there. Definitely something I could see myself doing in my future in my accounting career. I wouldn't mind having to do bank recs at all. The next task that I was given was to record all the additions and the disbursements of an ATM account. This was something that was completely new to me. I had never done this before, and I also had never even knew that this is how they recorded the transactions of an ATM account. I didn't even know how they did that or if they kept track of it at all. But here you can see I would get the receipt for each day. It'd be a day-to-day receipts of the amount that went out, the amount that was added in, and it would show like the amount of $20 bills in fives. Like it'd be like 15 $20 bills, and that's how much money you would know was in there, because you would have to multiply 20 by 5. You would know if you were doing this right, because on the receipt it tells you the beginning of machine amount, and then it tells you the additions and how much was taken out, and then you should have an ending machine amount at the end of after you enter the transaction, like the additions and disbursement, and then that ending machine amount should be the same amount that you start with on the next receipt. So therefore, if you didn't, you knew you did something wrong. Sometimes it would get pretty difficult because you would not know whether you did, like, sometimes the additions and the disbursements would be exactly what you read off of the paper, but there would still be a missing like $100 or something, and sometimes the company would come and just take that out or write it off and not give you a receipt for it. So that's something you always had to keep an eye out for. When I first started with these, it was very slow. I had to figure out how to do it because I was doing the math really slow and just figuring it all out. But as I went on, it started coming to me really fast, and I was getting it really fast, knocking them out. Also, a very fun activity to me. I still appreciate the challenge aspect of it. That's why I think that's really what I like in this field. it's always like a challenge, something that you want to get to at the end and make sure everything's right. The next tax that I did was actually pretty simple and pretty easy. I just basically took all the receipts from one of their clients and I separated them to different piles, for one for food, one for entertainment, gas, office supplies, things that we did in the accounting course at the school. So I basically already knew how to do that. So that was really easy. This last task that I here showed to you guys is probably the one that I did the most. I took coded checks and I entered them into a software that they had, where basically once I was done putting them all in there, I put like the description of the check amount, and I entered it in, and it would post to the general ledger, and it would be a copy would be given to the client, and a copy will be kept for the firm. And it was actually pretty easy. I basically would just take what was written in front of me and enter it in the computer. My mentor said I was very good at it, so whenever he had something for me like that, he would give it to me immediately, as well as tell others, the other employees at the firm, to give that to me as well. I chose this internship because I know that I want to be an accountant when I grow up. I'm majoring in accounting next year, and this internship will definitely give me an insight of what I'm going to see in the field, and hopefully prepare me for a few things. It actually did help me with a few things that I will be learning in college. The activity that I probably liked the most was probably bank reconciliations, because it was pretty easy, as well as I actually did really like putting in doing the ATM accounts. I actually disliked, well, I wouldn't say dislike, but it's easy to get distracted when you're doing entering coded checks, because there's no challenge to it. There's nothing you really have to do besides look at the paper and enter it in. It's very easy to get distracted. You find yourself checking your phone, wandering, and there's things like that I didn't find to be that fun. After my internship, I am still very interested in accounting. I'm actually pretty excited to get into it. The internship only pushed me more to want to be one. It's something that I can definitely see myself doing. My next career step is to go to college and study accounting and major in it, and eventually sit for the CPA exam and pass it, so I therefore can be a certified public accountant. For future interns, my advice would be to intern in something that you actually enjoy and want to for sure know that you want to get into, um, because it really helps out. Because then you want to go, you're excited to learn everything, and it really makes the experience more positive, and it makes everything better for yourself. And you're actually pretty enthusiastic about everything, and you find yourself learning a lot.